Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. So we have seen a lot of great duels throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, and we've seen some duels where the winning duelist barely had any life points remaining, and that's what we are going to be doing in this video. We are going to be looking at the top 10 lowest life point wins. All of these wins happened where the duelist that won the duel had less than 100 life points left, which you know is very rare in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel and very hard to pull off if you're not playing Dinomorphia or a deck that specializes in lowering your life points. And outside of really a few characters in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise, we really don't see decks play like that. So all of these are very unique circumstances, and without further ado, let's begin. If I missed any, please let me know down below, and a special thank you to some people that helped me compile the data. Let's begin. Number 10, Yuma versus Nash. Yuma wins with 50 life points. So on Shark's final turn, Yuma was sitting at only 350 life points. Shark then attacked Utopia with his Black Ray Lancer, which Yuma activated Utopia's effect, negating the attack. Shark then attacked with his final monster, Submersible Carrier Arrow Shark, which inflicted 300 damage, lowering Yuma's life points all the way down to 50. Utopia is not destroyed by this, since Arrow Shark is not a numbers monster, and in the Zexal anime, only a number can destroy another number. Yuma ends up taking a crazy long turn that sees him winning, capping off one of the best duels in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And giving Yuma the win with the very rare sub 100 life point value. Tied for 10th, Jim versus the Supreme King. The Supreme King wins with 50 life points. So this is another duel where the winning duelist had 50 life points. Jim Crocodile Cook takes on the Supreme King, and Jim is able to land an attack with Gaia Plate the Earth Giant on the Supreme King's Lightning Golem, which lowers the Supreme King's life points from 1,650 all the way down to 50. However, on the very next turn, the Supreme King wins and defeats Jim. What's interesting is going into the final turn, it was actually 50 life points versus 50 life points, as Crocodile Cook also had 50 life points when he lowered the Supreme Kings to 50. So either way, one of these duelists was going to have an extremely low amount of life points left, no matter who won. Pretty cool. Number 9, Yuma versus Vector Round 2. Yuma wins with 25 life points. On Vector's final turn, Vector uses the effect of Umbral Horror Masquerade in order to halve Yuma's life points, which were at 100. He uses this effect twice, and so Yuma's low life points go from 100 to 50 to the strange value of 25. Vector then sets a trap and tries to finish Yuma off during his turn, but things go awry when Yuma changes his rank up magic card's name using his Shining Evolution power. This prevents Vector from activating his trap, which needed the word Baryon to be in the rank up magic card text. Yuma ends up defeating Vector and survives with an extremely low amount of life points. Number 8, Playmaker versus Revolver Round 4. Playmaker wins with 13 life points. Playmaker really danced with barely any life points for the entire second half of this duel. The duel lasts 10 turns, and on turn number 5, Revolver attacks directly with Topologic Gumblar Dragon. Playmaker sends 2 cards from his hand to the graveyard to quarter the damage. 1/4 of 3,000 is 750, and so Playmaker's life points go from 800 down to 50. A few turns later, Playmaker activates his trap transaction rollback to target the Mirror Force in Revolver's grave. The cost of activating this is half of your life points, which lowers him from 50 down to 25. On Playmaker's final turn, he activates Transaction Rollback's graveyard effect. By banishing it, he can target a normal trap in his graveyard and activate it. This cost is also half of his life points, which lowers them down to 12.5. Since life points have to be whole numbers, this value gets rounded up to 13. Playmaker wins the duel this turn and ends with one of the most awkward life point values we have ever seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! As he beats Revolver with 13 life points remaining. Number 7, Atem versus Raphael Round 2. Atem wins with 10 life points. Our last fun low amount that isn't 1 or 0. Near the end of Atem and Raphael's rematch duel, Raphael attacks Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight with his Guardian Dread Scythe. Yami Yugi activates Reduction Barrier, which has the fun effect of reducing the damage you take to 1/10. What a wonderfully timed effect. The damage of 2900 gets reduced to 290, which lowers Atem's life points from 300 down to 10. Atem goes on to win the rematch duel with just 10 life points, another super unique amount that will probably never be seen again in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime duel. Tied for third, Lightning versus Revolver. Lightning wins with 1 life point. The next 4 are tied for third, as 4 different times we have seen duelists win with just 1 measly life point. The most recent is where we will start, and that is when Lightning somehow fought off Revolver. Now this one is certainly the most controversial on the list, because real Yu-Gi-Oh! Players will tell you this duel should have been a draw, with both duelists having their life points hit 0 at the same time. However, Lightning, using some anime BS in which he converted Jin Kusanagi's consciousness data to a life point, is able to survive and technically defeat Revolver with 1 life point left. This is a result that has been mired in controversy and debated for years. I think Lightning won, even with the anime BS mechanics, because at the end of the day, that's what makes the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. But others will say this should count as a draw. Either way, it doesn't change the fact that Lightning did survive with a single life point. Tied for third, Marek versus Bakura. Marek wins with 1 life point. Maybe the best villain versus villain duel we've ever seen. I'm sure a lot of you remember how this one ends, but in case you don't, Yami Marek uses Ra's effect, which allows him to pay his life points in order to boost Ra's attack. Welp, he pays 8,549 of his 8,550 life points in order to boost Ra's attack to 8,549. This obviously kills off Yami Bakura and gives Marek the win. The win, mind you, with just 1 life point remaining. For those wondering, Yami Marek used the trap Joyful Doom, which boosted his life points that high. Funny, in one turn he had 8,550 life points, which was probably one of the highest ever for the times, and then in the next he was down to 1. Marek was truly something. Tied for third, Yusei, Jack, and Crow versus Godwin. Yusei, Jack, and Crow win with 1 life point remaining each. The schematics for this duel are as follows. Yusei, Jack, and Crow each start with 4,000 life points, while Godwin starts with 12,000 life points. As the duel progresses, we see Godwin start to chip away at these 3. Godwin gets Crow and Jack's life points down to 1 before they crash and are unable to continue, technically not defeated. The way these elite duelists had their life points shaved off so easily was because of Raska's effect, which allows Godwin to skip his battle phase and reduce his opponent's life points to 1. Crow, using a trap, took a hit that was aimed for Yusei, while Godwin went after Jack directly. Eventually, Raska's attack successfully landed on Yusei, which lowered his life points from 4,000 to 1. The only difference? Yusei didn't crash. He would go on to defeat Godwin, as the would-be Team 5D's members all had 1 life point remaining when Godwin was taken down. So this entry is kind of a fun 3-for-1 deal here, or maybe they all had 3 life points in total, so maybe it should be higher. I don't really know how to rank this, but because they each had 1 life point and they had their own fields and their own life point counters, I feel like this probably should count in the 1 life point department. Tied for third, Misael versus 3 and V. Misael wins with 1 life point left. We have another non-1v1 duel on this list, but this time the winning side is the solo duelist. The schematics for this one is a little different, as 3 and V share a field and a 4,000 life point pool. V activates his Chaos number 6 Chronomaly Chaos Atlantis' effect by detaching 3 overlay units to reduce Misael's life points to 1. Pretty neat effect. Well, the neatness ends shortly after because the brothers failed to get rid of that final life point, and Misael won on his next turn. Life lesson. Reducing your opponent's life points to 1 is cool, but it's only cool if you can actually finish the job. The Arclight brothers couldn't, and Misael gets the win with a measly life point remaining. Tied for first, Kyoru versus Lawton. Kyoru wins with 0 life points. The next 2 are the only instances where duelists won with no life points remaining. How? Well, there are card effects that can allow a duel to continue even if your life points hit 0. The first instance of this is when Kyoru and Yusei took on Lawton in Crashtown. Kyoryu and Yusei had 4,000 life points each and their own field. Loten targeted Kyoryu immediately and got his life points down to 0 using the effect of Gatling Ogre. However, Kyoryu activates the effect of Infernity 0, which can be activated if his life points hit 0. Infernity 0 then gains Doom counters for each multiple of 500 damage he takes, and when he gets 3 Doom counters, it will be destroyed, and he will then lose the duel. The duel proceeds, and Crow and Jack show up with help to save Crashtown. After some commotion, Loten tries to escape. Kyoryu tracks him down, and the duel continues, with Kyoryu having 0 life points and Loten having 800. Kyoryu ends up getting a fantastic win in one of my favorite end-of-duel segments ever, and wins with 0 life points. A perfect symbolic final duel for the Death God, Kyoryu. Tied for first, Yugi and Kaiba versus Darts. Yugi wins with 0 life points. And the final entry on this list is our other 0 life point win. Yugi and Kaiba take on Darts to end the 4th season of Duel Monsters. Yugi and Kaiba each have their own field and have 4,000 life points each. Darts takes down Kaiba and then takes on a Tem one-on-one. This is a super fun one because both duelists had 0 life points and were still alive. Darts pays all 14,100 of his life points to summon Divine Serpent God Gay, and as long as Gay remains in play, Darts cannot lose. Well, the issue is Gay has infinite attack points. So what does Yugi do? Well, after taking an attack from Gay and having his life points reduced to 0, he activates Relay Soul and special summons Dark Magician Girl. As long as Dark Magician Girl remains in play, he does not lose the duel. So we have a wonderful situation of both of these duelists having no life points. Man, those filler writers really had fun with this. After some infinite loop, greater than infinity nonsense, Yamayugi eventually defeats Serpent God Gay, thus triggering Darts' losing condition and giving Yugi the win with not a single life point to show for it. And guys, that wraps up our top 10 lowest life point wins in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. I really hope you enjoyed. It was hard to find 10 entries. I did need some outside help, so shout out to the people in my Discord that helped me with that. And if I missed any, which is very, very possible, please let me know in the comments. Let me know of these duels which ones were some of the more memorable and which ones were some of your favorites. I remember Playmaker with 13. It's such a weird number, and it was pretty recent as well. So that's a pretty memorable one for me. And of course, the 0 life point wins are just so unique. But guys, thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you in the comments, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.